What makes a good producer? This is something I have been thinking about for a little while and just something I want to share my thoughts on. G'day guys, EASYCORE from Spinlight Studio here. If you're running a recording studio, you're going to be wearing many different hats. And what I mean is one day you're going to be the audio engineer, the next day you're going to be the mix engineer, the next day you might be the mastering engineer, and on one of these days you're going to be putting on that producer hat and helping produce a song. Now I know what some of you are thinking, that's like being a jack of all trades and a master of none, but I think that's a load of crap because I think you can be great at all of these things. You just have to be in the right mindset when coming into each of those roles. And so what does being a producer mean? Because you can have producers who literally don't play an instrument, they just come in and they sit and they tell you their ideas and what you should do. And that's totally cool. That's generally something you're probably more experienced with a label. Whereas when you're coming in and working with your local studio and you're getting the engineer to help you produce the song, they're going to be stepping into a role where they're going to be helping an artist bring their song to life. That person might be bringing in a skeleton of a track, an acoustic guitar and a vocal, and then it becomes a producer's job to bring this thing to life. So number one, as a producer, you need to be a good listener. You need to listen to the artist and hear what they're trying to achieve. Let them explain, maybe show you some references of the end goal of what they want to get out of having you produce their song. If you start getting your own ideas and taking it off on your own tangent where you want to take the song, you're probably going to end up with an unhappy client. You really want to listen to them and try and achieve the goal that they're chasing. This also means listening to their ideas. Don't shut them down. Don't say, no, that's a bad idea, let's do it this way. Hear them out. There's been plenty of times when I've had someone suggest, what if we do this? And my first thought has been, I don't think that's going to work very well. But I hear them out, I let them show me the idea, and then occasionally like, that is a great idea. That actually is amazing. That's way better than what I was thinking. So you need to be open to listening to them and hearing out their ideas. Don't let your ego get in the way. And number two, on top of this, you need to contribute ideas. If you're the producer, you need to be bringing a lot to the table. That's what you are there for. If you kind of sit there saying, what do you think? Or I don't know, what do you think about that? Or what do you want to try? That's not going to instill a lot of faith in you as a producer. You need to come with ideas and be ready to deliver. And that can range in so many different ways. They could be playing the song and you could say, hey, this is going to sound so much better if we kick that BPM up and make it a little bit faster. Suggesting edits to the structure like, hey, we don't need that extended bar that you're doing there to bridge the gap between the verse to the chorus. It's making the track lose momentum. Let's cut that and just go straight into it. What if we break the song down here and strip it right back to just vocals and guitar and then hit it big with everything coming back in? Like, there's so many ways that you can suggest ideas to bring value to the production, and that is your job as a producer. So number three, this is aimed at producers who are very hands-on, who can play a couple of instruments, who really get in there and deliver a lot of the goods on the song. But you need to be able to improvise. For me, I play drums. I can always just like put beats down on the songs, or if you're good on the computer, you can program some beats out. Laying down chords on the guitar, basic piano tracks, like all of that stuff is great. But when it comes to adding color and texture to a track, that's when you really need to be able to improvise. There'll be plenty of times when you put on the spot like, hey, this would sound great with some sort of lead part here. And you have to just pull that out. You have to get on the guitar, on the piano, on the keys, whatever, and you have to add some color to the track. And that is where your skills to improvise are really gonna shine. I've had plenty of times when I've had an artist say, I would love a guitar solo through this little instrumental section. And for me, I start sweating a little bit because while I do love playing guitar, playing a solo to me is like, I find that a little challenging, but I will step up to the plate. And that just comes back to my willingness and ability to improvise. Granted, not everyone is going to play multiple instruments, but if you want to produce songs, then you probably do need to start dabbling in other instruments. For me, I started out with drums and that's my main instrument, but I quickly picked up a guitar along the side of things and I just started teaching myself. When I was growing up at home, my mum had this old, decrepit upright piano that was really out of tune, but I used to sit down and I would play it and I would just try and figure things out. And now I can sit down at the keys and I can lay down some parts for a song. So even though I'm not like the best keys player, I can still add value to a production. I can add chords, there can be movement in it, I can add some nice pretty parts. There's plenty that you can do without having to be the best at that instrument. And if you have a client who wants someone of a higher skill level, they're after something fairly particular, you can always start looking for session players. And lastly, number 4, this is 2 in 1. You need to be humble and honest. Don't let your ego get in the way. If you are helping put an idea down and then the artist says, I don't really like that, don't take it to heart. Just quickly change gears and go in a different direction. You got to remember, it's not your song, and the end goal is to really make the artist happy. So if they're not liking what you're doing, quickly change it up and try and give a different idea. And you got to keep things honest. Make sure you tell them when they're not delivering a good performance. If the vocals aren't quite there, don't brush on the rug and just be like, hey, we'll just tune it later. Push them. Try and get them to get the best out of it. And you've got to be honest. If they've come in with the intention of maybe laying down the guitar track and they're not really doing a great job, they're buzzing the chords, they're fumbling around, just let them know, like, hey, I can hear a few sounds, the chords aren't that clean. Do you want to let me have a try at laying this down? Approach them with kindness. Don't just say, hey, that sucks, let me do it. Just sort of let them know why it might be a better idea that you do it. And ultimately, all of these things just add up to a better final product, which means that the artist is happy, they'll probably want to come and work with you again, and they might even suggest you to some of their friends. I've definitely heard a lot of stories about producers with people that I've worked with who have just had terrible experiences because their ego gets in the way. What you need to do is remember that it's not your song. You are there to help achieve the end goal for that artist. If you have any differing thoughts about what makes a good producer, drop it in the comments below. I'm keen to hear what you think. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to support this channel, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, check out the description link below. Maybe consider becoming a Patreon member or even checking out the link to my website. I've got a range of drum samples and mixing courses. Grabbing any of those is a massive support. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.